Hello, everyone. Welcome into the first round of round 3. We've got Ignorance surviving versus Gorilla, Obi on the Cenobite. And we are entering in on the Dead Dog Saloon. I'm joined here once again by I Am Robot for another exciting match. Are you ready to see some Cenobite action?
Yeah, and I'm more excited to see, some Dead Dog Saloon action as well. Obi finds the box here pretty quick. I enjoy watching Dead Dog because it's usually, it's pretty consistent. The loops are predictable, and I think that makes it for a good viewing experience. And Obi lands the hit and the chain very quickly here. We'll see how much action we can see. You know, we've been seeing some. Oh wow, that chain is gonna be the death of MX right here. And that is a quick down, honestly, for this type of map. I think just MX unfortunately was not able to make it to main building, which is what we're gonna see. And 2 pallets already dropped, so some important resources used by MX, and Obi in a good spot. You know, it's at an extreme end of the map, able to chain somebody at the top of the stairs if they decide to come up here, and 2 generators close by as well. So Obi in a good spot. We'll see how the survivors of Ignorance decide to play this out.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a fortune here you can hold too, especially from the top of main building. I think the start really showcases the importance of rotating towards main early, because you know that the Cenobite is going to find the box really quickly if they know what they're doing. They're going to get the box, and then they're going to know where everyone is. So if you are the only survivor not in your main building, you are going to be the target. And if you have an unfortunate first chase, you're going to get hooked in potentially a setup. And so you really do need to rotate to main faster, but unfortunately they weren't able to. And now Obi is going to be able to camp this to second with no pressure on his 4gen here. And so that puts him in a very good position, especially, you know, Cenobite with Original Pain, one of the strongest tunneling killers in the game. Because of that, you unhook them, they get chained, and they can instantly go down. Again, these survivors have to approach this very carefully if they want to keep MX still in the game, and they really do need to put pressure on the 4gen, as right now they're just working the 4gens to confirm these, which isn't a bad idea, but they're gonna have to deal with that 4gen soon, and you don't want to deal with that when you're only 3 survivors left on a team.
Yeah, look at that. We can see it right there, the 4gen over there, and that is going to be difficult for Ignorance to deal with. We do see it's not going to be quite a trade for Ignorance, and that mischange there by Obi trying to get the men status for MX, but MX able to get away. Now that's going to come in. Shack Pally is going to be thrown, however, and MX is probably going to try to make it to main. We'll see if we get another hit tank here. Nope. Obi, this next chain is going to be crucial for the purposes of tunneling out. But we see Adam here with breaking the chain, with the helping out here. So this is going to extend the chase. We did see another generator completed. So now Obi only has the 4gen to work with, and we'll see if Ignorance is able to break that in the next few minutes.
Another chain dodge here from MX. Obi bamming the window at main to just make sure that they can't extend the loop a little bit longer. But with how much distance MX has on Obi right now, they might even be able to loop it back around. And Obi just kind of falling behind, and MX going downstairs now, playing the downstairs side. Obi finally closing the distance, but the amount of time that was wasted here, it cannot be understated, as now they have pressure on the gens. And we do see another hit take coming in. Oh my gosh, the ace comes in last second hit take, extending this chase just a little bit longer. We do see that rapid brutality though, which is going to allow Obi to catch up but not quite make it. Those chains, just bad chain RNG for Obi here, as this survivor is now able to loop it back around to the back of main building, but it doesn't look like they're going to make any resources here. There's no pallet at the wagon. They didn't run to the 11 side filler, and they're just going to go here on the edge map. MX now getting tunneled out of the game at 2 generators, but with how much pressure was put onto the gen setup here, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually saw 1 gen pop here, which would split up the gen setup very nicely for Ignorance.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. Well, I guess this generator here, progress on this generator is as good as any. But we do see, oh my gosh.
no.
So they were doubling the one upstairs, and that is going to be rough here for Obi now. He does get the down, however, so two downs quickly. So, I mean, it's good and bad, I guess, what we just saw. Good for Obi and bad at the same time because one generator was completed. But now it's only Nancy up and running, and it's then you start to question, right? Like, was it a good idea to just double it and risk it? But Obi going for the pickup, so now Nancy is gonna have a little bit of time to maybe try to get Kasla, but I'm sorry, to get Marco. But now to be honest, everything happened so fast that I don't even know where Marco ended up. So oh, I see. Yeah, I see it right here. So yeah, so Nancy now is gonna have to make a decision. It's going to be tough because look at these hook placement. Oh wow, it's just right across the street. So it's gonna be easy for Obi to keep to maintain this area here. So it's gonna be rough here for Nancy. We'll see how they decide to play this out. What do you think, Adam? What do you think is gonna happen here?
It's hard to say. It looks like a 4K1 for Obi if he plays this properly. The absolute roller coaster, just the ups and downs here of Obi getting that fast first chase, then the tunnel out's taking a long time, excellent hit takes coming in, extending it, and oh my gosh, like a gen's gonna pop. But then seeing that two of the injured survivors were doubling the gen, resulting in a double slug, I think Ignorance lost that momentum they gained back. And I think that mistake is going to cost them a 4K1 here when they could have potentially gotten outs after how long that tunnel out took. They really wanted to get that gen done, which, it's understandable in the current circumstances, but now you've got two survivors on hook and you just don't have a whole lot to go off of. Though Marco does get unhooked. It looks like Nancy snuck around from the back of main and does get the unhook, which is not going to be a trade, which actually does keep them in the game a little longer. Obi's straying just a little bit too far from hook and now has to worry about two survivors being up right now, which is kind of the only thing Ignorance could do to recover from that spot. But Obi's still in a very strong position. They don't have any gen progress on this gen setup, and now Obi can just pressure these two survivors as they're both kind of stuck here. If they want to rotate to the gens, they got to go all the way through the middle of the street, which takes a little while since they're in the back of main. We do see some pressure starting on main, but with Original Pain being here, if he lands that chain, it's going to be men progress, although it looks like Marco just backing off, not working the gen anymore, not wanting to give that men state. But we're going to be seeing a survivor die pretty soon. Marco doing box, maybe potentially baiting a teleport, but Obi not taking the bait is just going to commit to this, camp this to death, and then it's going to be a 2v1 with the 3 gen remaining, which, in my opinion, I don't think the survivors can recover from this spot, which is very unfortunate for them because they did recover from their bad start and they made it into an excellent mid game. But in this late game here, they're really slowing down.
Yeah, it's tough, right? Because in hindsight, it's always easy to say, oh yeah, they shouldn't have. Which I kind of agree with you, Autumn. Like, it was very risky because especially if no balance to help you dropping out of that house, out of the second story, and now we have find Marco over here, so that's gonna be we'll see how fast Marco is able to or how fast Obi is able to get Marco here. But it's difficult, right? Because they did finish the generator. So if they feel confident that their killer is going to get a better result than a 4K1, I guess that made sense, but it puts them in a really tough spot, especially with the RNG that Obi had here. Because even if they finish that, which they did, even finishing that generator, the 3 gen is still here, really. So, it's hard to say how things would have planned out. But yeah, I agree with you that it was very risky. I think, like you said, they were in a good spot. They recovered with the hit tanks and stuff, so maybe playing it a little bit slower could have maybe helped them out. But we'll see what happens on the next game. I think this one is pretty much done, and now Obi found the box as well, so that's unfortunate for Ignorance. So this is going to be the last chase. Still a lot of resources though, so we'll see how Nancy plays this out, try to extend the chase a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think again it really just came to flicking around the corner, however, no fear, and a bit of a DC happening there. either lost connection with the timing of it. I really hope this isn't a bad sportsmanship situation. Shame on the players if this is what they're doing. Play it out till the end, guys. But either way, that's gonna be the 4K one for Obi. So now we have to see if Ignorance can match that result, which, you know, it does happen. I have seen that result quite often for Cenobite, but you're up against a very strong Survivor team, and you have to keep that in the back of your mind as you're going into it. Although that being said, Obi's struggling here to find Marco, but either way, hatch is closed, so if Marco bleeds out here, the fresh hook was already gained off Marco, so he wouldn't be losing any points in this. So now it's just a matter of speeding up the process of going into the next game. But it looks like Marco has been found, and that is going to be the secured 4K1 for Obi. And now we're going to see Ignorance killing Cenobite side, and we're going to see if they're able to match that 4K1 result for the tie or the 4K2 for the win. So stay tuned for the conclusion of Ignorance versus Gorilla in just a moment.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to this Grindhouse slaughter matchup between Gorilla and Ignorance. We have MX now playing Killer for Ignorance, and a few minutes ago we saw Obi play Killer for Gorilla, getting a 4K1. We did have a little bit of housekeeping to deal with, that's why it took us a little bit longer to start the match. Unfortunately, Ignorance were granted a half a hook stage for that DC. They were unable to provide proof that it was not their fault to get that DC at the end of the match. So they have a hook stage removed from their score. So that means that for Ignorance now, for MX, all he has to do is get a 4K2. So there's no, I'm sorry, a 4K1. So there is no no tie condition to be met anymore. So 4K1, which is the same as Obi got last time, is going to not be a tie. So, you know, we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, MX here unable to get any tags onto the Survivor team here. So I'm casting here. My name is Robot. I'm casting here with Autumn. Autumn, we've seen some of these players for Gorilla play at the highest level in DBD comp. So what do you think we're going to see from there here today?
Well, from this position, again, only having to pop down to one generator for Gorilla to win definitely puts them in a really good spot here, because that is extremely doable, especially considering that most of the time there's only a sustainable 3-gen on this map, not a sustainable 4-gen. We do see the first tag coming in with Rapid Brutality in hand. MX also brought Noed. Here in this tourney, we are presetting the killer builds, where killers have to send their builds before the match starts. That way they can't get an advantage. So he preset that he wanted to bring Noed into this, but now he's basically losing out on a perk slot because the end game in this game will not matter. So again, Gorilla only having to pop down to 1-gen, losing the 50-50 here. Obi is going to go down. That's going to be the first down of the game. We do hear a lot of progress on the mid generator here, though, so I don't know if MX is going to be able to get this hook and get the pain res before that generator pops. And we do see a gen popping. It is the street gen. And now MX going to be looking for his perfect hook to play off of for this game. This is going to be the first hit coming in onto Obi. Are we going to see a second generator pop? Doesn't look like we will. That's going to be the pain res coming in, stopping the generator, regressing it a little bit. A couple of resources used on this side of the map, and now MX has a bit of an uphill battle, losing a gen already. But if he can force these survivors to get a quick unhook and quickly tunnel out Obi, he still has a chance to stay in the game here.
Yeah, and the box is being completed, but MX is, you know, he has more interest in keeping chases in this area here, because there's generators being worked on, and we also have the unhook. And unfortunately for MX, the unhook came and no penalty. I mean, no real, at no expense really for the survivors. It's not even going to be a tag or anything. We do have a chain onto Obi, put him in a deep wound, so we'll be going down fairly quickly after being unhooked. That rapid brutality is gonna even give MX a little bit of speed to get his second hook stage onto Obi. So we see Ace here try to take a hit, but MX sees that, and you know, MX understands that he's not gonna make it all the way to the hook placement that he wanted. But it's still not a bad hook over here. You know, it's got one generator here that he's gonna regress now, and gonna do a little bit of remodeling here over in main. Now, no bamboozle, so chases in main. If Survivor decide to take chases there, it's gonna be a little bit tough here for MX. Even some nodders here trying to boost up the confidence to continue the chases onto these survivors who are playing it very safe, very well. Another generator pop like we saw. So 2 more generators will give the survivor team the win.
Yeah, MX just in a tough spot here. Trying to prevent this main gen from popping, but he can't guard the gen and the hook. If he goes and commits to this, they will get the unhook then. Obi's hook timer is slowly ticking down here, and they will probably be unhooking this very soon. MX does get a tag for this, though, which does put him in a little bit of a better spot. Taking that rapid brutality speed over to the hook, we do see the unhook coming in. Now it's all on Obi's shoulders to see how long he can last in this chase. MX trying to land that chain, trying to get that men state going, trying to get that down as fast as possible, as we do know that that main gen is close. Does find Kexo in the locker here, probably playing for a head-on, and that's going to be another fresh hook coming in, so potentially a pain res, which could keep MX in the game a little bit if he can go and finish his tunnel out onto Obi. If Obi remains in the game for too long, then the gen pressure will just start to stack up and he will not be able to prevent it. He's on his way to main building here, but will he make it upstairs in time before? It doesn't even look like he's bothering to go upstairs. He just wants to find Obi, who he thinks rotated around this side of main building, and he is correct. He does find Obi near main building window. That's going to be the vault into main as MX commits to this chase at main building. Hitting a nice chain onto Obi, and Obi losing a lot of distance from that. MX catching up very rapidly, but I think Obi's going to make it back around to the window if he can dodge his chain. Doesn't dodge the chain, so it could potentially be a down, but it looks like those chains just going to break as he vaults the window. A very extended chaser from Obi at main building. This is the power of main building Dead Dog. When you don't have bamboozle, that window becomes very, very strong, especially since MX didn't bother to break that wall earlier. Now trying to cut him off by breaking this wall, but with that prediction, Obi, with a good reaction time, is able to run back to the inside of main now. And at this point, just one more gen pop ends the game here. So MX getting head-on now too into the flashlight blind. So much time waste, and it's really just going to come down to these last couple of moments here. I don't see a world where he can recover this with how much gen progress there currently is.
Yeah, you know, MX was in a good spot not too long ago, to be honest with you, with that find. Like my eyes were open so wide when I saw MX open that locker and see Ace hiding there trying to get a head-on play. Because that was a tilting point here, in my opinion, for MX in his favor. Because, you know, Obi was still on a hook. Oh, Obi was still injured. Another pain res used. And then finding Obi to get the tunnel out was going to be very, very favorable for MX. But unfortunately, Obi played that main building very well. And like you mentioned, not having bamboozle for you to use in main building, it's just rough for any killer in general. Even with the chains that MX was able to land, Obi was able to get the medium vault on some of the chases or on some of the, you know, runarounds that he had, and, you know, was able to extend the chase long enough for recovery of the team. So now, you know, the survivors are playing really well. MX is just distracted over here. My guess is that we have 2 other survivors working on 1 more generator, and that is it. You know, that is 4K1, which, you know, if there was no penalty, that would have been a tie condition. But, you know, because we have a hook stage here, MX not able to get the tie. Although I don't even know if that would have been enough, because, you know, these chases are just lasting too long. So the down doesn't come through. However, you know, a good ping here for Karma. So now I guess we're just waiting for this chase to end and then potentially see or hear another generator get completed.
Yeah, I don't know if the penalty would have mattered that much in the end, because, again, without the penalty, they would just need to pop 1 more here, and with only 3 stages, no tunnel out here, there's really no way to recover this. Karma doing a great job on this pallet, wasting a lot of time. We see the no-ed haste coming in, and that's eventually going to be the down onto Karma. MX celebrating that down, going to be taking that hook, and most likely the survivors are just going to take their 3 out, and this is a really good showcase. So the two survivor teams played this very differently. You'll see Gorilla played this much slower than Ignorance did, and we see the difference in results here. We do have Kexo, though, sticking around for this poll, trying to see if he can unhook it. even while injured with Noah in play, but it looks like he is going to make it away and just run to the exit gate now. And we'll have to see if MX can get any more downs in this end game, because there are still, there's still a chance here for some more downs, and it does look like Obi finally here after all this time. MX is finally going to catch his tunnel out. That's going to be the locker force and the grab from Obi. We're going to see the flashlight save. No flashlight save coming in, and now MX just going to be taking his tunnel out onto Obi here, and that's going to be the kill onto Obi. And most likely that's just going to be the threat. We do see the Noed getting cleansed with everyone injured at that moment, though. Karma does get reset now, and now Karma can just take all the other survivors out of the gate for a nice 5-stage game from Gorilla. Although it looks like maybe they're doing a little bit of a 1v1 at Shack here. MX hitting the chain onto Karma. Karma inside Shack now. No pallet here to be had, though, so that's going to be the tag onto Karma. Rapid brutality speed might allow him to catch up to this before Karma can even get out. Although it looks like Karma's just sticking to Shack, just playing the 1v1 here. And I do see a bit of shenanigans happening. I think everyone's just having a good time now that the win con's already been met. Flashlight save does come in. And now with chain hunt being active, maybe some chains will prevent future shenanigans from happening. Although it looks like they're all content with that, are just going to take their outs now. 5-stage game for Gorilla. Very well played. And again, you have to remember, like, Ignorance played this very well on Survivor side from the start, and just made one mistake that led to the 4K. They didn't play it all that bad. There was still a very good chance, but in the end, Gorilla is going to come out on top here. And MX getting one final down of the game. And that is going to be the end of that matchup. Ignorance is going to be losing to Gorilla. Gorilla will be moving on to the finals. We still have one more Dead Dog Saloon game coming up, though. So we will have to see how that next one goes in just a little while. So please stay tuned for more Chainsaw Slaughter.